Now if you're like me, you probably looked at Binding of Isaac gameplay one time and thought, nah, and opened up your favorite relevant movement shooter. And look, I can't hate on that, but you are missing out on one of the most fun and chaotic video game genres out there. But you prefer first-person shooters, right? Well, I think I've found a solution. You see, I've spent the last month sifting through Steam's extensive library to find 3 FPS roguelikes. 3 good, you know what, no, great FPS roguelikes you can confidently tank your hard-earned cash into. But if I've done my job right, then by the end of this video, you'll have found your new favorite subgenre, and all I've earned to like. This is never knew you needed. Let's get into the first game. Filled with crazy weapons, dynamic movement, and challenging enemies, Roboquest is an FPS roguelite developed by Rise Up Studios. You play as a guardian robot, fighting your way through different stages, taking out bad bots, and fighting bosses along the way. There's 5 different classes, all equipped with a primary and secondary ability. On close range, try Recon. Armed with a laser dagger, he can take down hordes of enemies, while Ranger leans more towards stealth, his kit allowing him to turn invisible and take down enemies without them even knowing. Just like a regular class-based roguelike, each one has their own upgrade paths that completely change how they're played. Ranger has an upgrade that triggers an elemental explosion when he exits stealth, turning him into what basically equates to a somber EMP of your elemental choosing. Or for Recon, feel like a dagger isn't big enough, need to compensate, how about a laser cutlass instead, allowing you to live out your oddly specific fantasy of being a robotic land pirate. Now on top of this, you also have gadgets, pre-run perks that give you all sorts of benefits, whether that's an extra jump, another weapon slot, or giving enemies a chance to drop weapons on death. There's a use for all of them, well, most of them anyway. Another way you can buff your character is through the use of items, and with over 70 possible options, it has a lot of variety. Most of my favorites can be boiled down to something happens, you move faster. But my absolute favorite has to be Jigsaw Box, which rerolls your weapon affix every time you reload. Speaking of weapons, if you played Borderlands before, then you're going to feel right at home with these. The sheer amount of unique weapons is incredible. Half of them are fairly normal, but then you get shit like this. You've got boxing gloves to give you more health, energy crossbows, throwing knives, saw blade launchers, and many more. Combine this with weapon affixes, and you've got a killer gameplay loop. Alright, you got all that? Great. Now let's talk about the movement. I'm not going to pull that again. You guys didn't like that last time. I'm past that. You know you've got something when half the reviews are comparing your indie game to a Bethesda titan. And they're not wrong either. Roboquest's movement system feels exactly like Doom's. Fast-paced, precise, and satisfying. Now that you know how your character works, you're probably going to need something to fight, right? One of my favorite parts of this game is the diverse group of enemies and arenas. Each level has progressively harder enemies to deal with. In the beginning, they're mostly just grunts throwing potatoes at you, but as you progress further and further, you'll face enemies that flashbang you.
Oh, I'm flash!
Ones that ensnare you until you eliminate them.
Move away from me, get
You'll come across big shield generators that protect the entire field, personal shields that follow other bad bots, living landmines that pop up and shoot at you, and anime robots. Think Sword Machine from Ultra Kill, but he can turn invisible and deploy smoke bombs. And all of this crammed into these incredibly designed stages, with lock-in arenas, puzzle rooms, this way, right?
Fucking hell, man.
And boss battles, ranging from stupid easy to Cater Coaster. Seriously, this fight has no reason to be this hard. I'm genuinely upset about it.
Man, I'm gonna break my monitor, I swear!
And with the final update just around the corner, there's never been a better time to pick this game up. It's well worth the price point, and the devs have a lot of great additions planned that I'm really excited for. Crab Champions, or should I say Gambling Simulator, is a run-based roguelike shooter that you can play on your own or with up to 3 friends. Defeat enemies and enjoy the beautiful scenery with luxury locations such as Pretty Beach, Frozen Tundra, and Hell. Literal hell. I'm not kidding. Initially, I thought it was kind of weird to have crabs fighting other crabs as the main premise for a video game, but then I searched up the developer. Oh shit, that makes sense. This game is a bit simpler compared to Roboquest, but that's by no means a bad thing. The gameplay loop is pretty easy to understand. You pick a gun, kill enemies, loot and buy upgrades, beat elites, and then move on to the next biome. You do this a few times until you reach the final boss, where once defeated, you're offered a legendary pickup and a choice to either finish the run or loop around again. And here, ladies and gentlemen, is where the addiction starts. I mean, I just got this cool upgrade, and really, I was only just getting OP. I'll just do one more run. That right there, the lie you tell yourself. You think you'll make a different choice when you beat it again? You push that thought to the back of your mind, and by the time you've looped around once more, you're incredibly powerful. You've just spent another hour of hard work getting here. But now you're faced with the same dilemma. To loop, or go to Crab Island and claim your crown. Oh, but it'd be such a waste to let it end by your own hands. So ignoring your better judgment, you decide to go again. And again, until finally you're defeated. The scoreboard reveals itself and you see you've spent 6 hours of your fleeting life running around as a crab killing other crabs. Wow, you think to yourself, I'm not going to do that again. Oh, the hubris. So now you understand how the game works, let's get a bit more specific. Unlike Roboquest, in Crab Champions you're locked to a single weapon the entire run. You pick from 12 recognizable weapons ranging from a 50 cal sniper rifle to a pack-a-punch weed killer. This game's main focus is the upgrades, or mods as they call it. The sheer amount of them can be overwhelming, but that's exactly what makes them so good. There's practically no limit on how powerful you can get, as each upgrade stacks up to 255 times. Meaning, realistically, the only restriction is how powerful your computer is. And even under 30 stacks, my PC was starting to crumble under their pure power. You might think you'd get tired of this, but it's weirdly addictive, and this combined with the abundance of achievements helps keep the game fresh and exciting. Just as the game was starting to feel stale, I discovered an achievement that asks you to get a win without firing your weapon once. And with only 7% of players successfully pulling it off, my competitive side decided it wanted a piece. So I unbound mouse 1 and set my sights on victory. And unexpectedly, this was my most successful run, and completely renewed my enjoyment of the game. But I mean, if fun's not enough for you, you can also scratch your crippling gambling addiction itch with the use of totems. Now, I've always been a huge believer of gambling in video games. Get them in on early, am I right? Whether that's TF2 crate unboxing or spending all your scrap on the wheel in Rust, there's no game that can't benefit from a little bit of chance. This rings true for Crab Champions. You've got many different types of totems. Some of them give you a free drop, while others might give you 100,000 crab bucks in return for 99.5% of your maximum health. Fuck! It's not just limited to totems either. You've got challenge islands that up the difficulty, rewarding your survival with an extra chest full of upgrades. I mean, now the only thing that can make this game better is if it had rocket jumping, but wait. Never mind, this game fucking sucks! Alright, you guys know the drill. Before we get to the last game, I want to show some games that didn't quite make the cut. And this one was so close to being included as a main feature. It's got an interesting gameplay mechanic. Oh, you thought I'd say more? No, really. Unfortunately, that's all it's got going for it. Okay, I admit, that's a pretty big generalization, but here's the gist. The game's called Force Reboot. You're constantly losing health. The slower you move, the more you lose.
Ooh, that's interesting.
You can only heal by eliminating enemies, which leads to these frantic moments of searching for an enemy as you watch your health slowly drain to zero. And if the game played like the trailer, then this review would be very different. And I gotta say, it looks fun. But here's where the problem arises. There's no reason to play this way. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a boring person. I like being flashy as much as the next movement player.
Look at me, I'm a movement player, Lois.
But this game doesn't reward that kind of play. Rather, it actively punishes you for doing so. Jumping, ground pounding, reflecting, all require you to slow down. And maybe I could make it work if I put more time into the game. But there arises the second problem. It's just not that fun. Once you finish it once or twice, there's not a whole lot left to do. The game's pretty short, the stages are very repetitive, and to add insult to injury, these upgrades suck. Every upgrade has an upside and a downside, which in itself is an interesting concept, but the implementation definitely needs work. 90% of the time, they're just not worth it. Ah yes, every weapon switches damage, but no traps. You know, that's fine, right? Weapon switching is boring anyway. I'm happy being punished for experimenting. Look, with that being said, this game is still in early access. A lot could change. And coming in at only $4.50, the game is definitely worth the asking price. But right now, I just can't justify giving it an entire segment. Now, if I don't mention the fact that I'm aware of this next game's existence, then there's going to be 1,000 comments asking why I didn't mention it. Actually, you know what? Forget I said anything. Epilepsy warning. Seriously. Our next game is a roguelike, set in a time known as post-void. A place known as post-void. A game known as post-void! With a visual style of Hotline Miami and a soundtrack that I could never get sick of, Post-Void is such an underrated gem that I'm surprised I haven't heard more about it. Shout out to the Dangerlamp 3669 for bringing it to my attention. If you have any game suggestions for future videos, be sure to let me know. I read all of your comments. All of them. Let's start with the setting. Here's the story as I understand it. So you're a dude running around in the back rooms armed with a revolver and a headache. So your goal is to get to the end of the halls and go for a swim. Alright, I don't really get it, but damn, this game is fun. This shrunken head is your health, which is slowly running out. To refill it, you have to liquidate your enemies. In the beginning, the game's predictable, gun-wielding freaks appearing around obvious corners and not really pursuing you. But as you make it further and further into the void, you'll be chased down by many different enemy types. The rooms progressively breaking down and becoming much less linear. The enemies are unsightly, which further adds to the feeling that you don't belong here. I mean, just look at the trading cards, looking like a fucking SpongeBob close-up. Some of them will simply sit there blocking your way, or idly shoot at you, while others will chase you down relentlessly. And you've only got so much time before you run out of man milk. The game becomes a balance of stressfully navigating your way through unknown terrain while picking off whatever target takes priority, and I love it. In terms of upgrades, Post-Void takes a minimalist approach. Once you reach the end of the level, it'll give you 3 options, which range from a different gun, an upgrade for said gun, or even a knife, which is weirdly effective. Though the game is quite short, it isn't a detriment. It's difficult, but not frustrating. The devs have managed to find the perfect balance, and costing less than any one of these, this game is an absolute steal. And that goes for all these games. The value is unmatched. I mean, half of them are in early access, so go buy them! They're not going to stay this cheap forever. And if you're looking for some more underrated games to look forward to, then go watch this video about 3 upcoming movement games you never knew you needed. Thanks for watching, fellas. Like and subscribe if you're a real one, and comment what genre you want me to cover next.